This is video lesson number 8-1, Constructions. Today we are going to be learning how to copy a line segment and how to copy an angle. There are two tools that you will need for this lesson. The first one is a straight edge. Does not have to be a ruler. We are not going to be using the measurements along this. It just needs to be a tool that can make straight lines. The second tool that you will need is a compass. A compass is used to draw circles and arcs. This is the compass that I will be using. You'll notice there's a wheel in the middle that I use to open and close the distance between these 2 points right there. There are also two really helpful videos that show you how to copy a line segment and copy an angle. If you need more directions, you can go to mathopenref.org and watch those videos that show you step-by-step how to do this. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to copy a line segment. Let's look at the definition for a segment. This is where we have 2 points that are connected by a line, and we have endpoints here. The difference between a line and a line segment is that a line usually has arrows at both ends and goes on forever, whereas a line segment has a definite ending and a beginning. Okay, it's finite. It does not go on forever in either direction. Okay, so we're going to learn how to copy this line segment. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to take our compass and we're going to place it on point A. Then I'm going to go ahead and use my compass to measure the distance from A to B. It's about right there. Okay, then I'm going to take this point and transfer it down to here. Then I am just going to make an arc. Okay, so I'm just going to take this and make an arc just like that. Okay, now I'm going to connect this point to any point along that arc. Now we're going to label the left-hand side. This endpoint is going to be A prime, and this endpoint over here is going to be B prime. This tells me that this is the original and this is the new one. A is the original point, A prime is now the new endpoint. Same thing over here, B was the original endpoint, now B prime is the new endpoint. Okay, that's the way I can distinguish between this line segment and that line segment. Even though they have the exact same length, they are still physically 2 different line segments. Okay, let's go ahead and do this for number 2 now. We're going to go ahead and copy this line segment. Go ahead and put your endpoint right there on A. Then measure the distance between A and B. We're going to transfer this point now down to here. And now I want to make an arc. I'm going to grab my straight edge, and I'm going to go ahead and connect segment A prime over here to the arc, and it can be any point on that arc. So we're going to label this one A prime and B prime. And I can now see that A prime and B prime are the exact same length. Okay, now let's go ahead and talk about angles. Let's go ahead and read the definition of an angle. An angle is a shape formed by 2 lines or rays diverging from a common endpoint called the vertex. So when we look at an angle on this next page, we have our vertex A, and we have 2 rays that are diverging from that common endpoint or vertex A, and because there's an arrow on both ends means that these lines go forever in both directions. Okay, there's definitely an endpoint here, but this line goes on forever this direction. Sorry, it's not a line, it's a ray. And this ray goes on forever in this direction. Okay, so to copy this angle, the first thing I want to do is I want to, first of all, decide where my vertex A prime is going to be. So I'm going to go ahead and put that right there. This is going to be my A prime. Then I'm going to just copy this down here just by drawing it. There's my bottom ray right there. Now this one could be longer than this one because remember this goes on forever, this goes on forever, so essentially they're really the same. Now we are going to take our compass. I'll make it a little bit smaller, and I'm going to put the sharp end right there on vertex A, and I'm going to draw an arc across both rays. So I'm going to take my arc, And I'm going to draw it across both rays. You'll notice sometimes I just rotate the paper instead of my compass. It's a little bit easier. So once again, I just put my point there and I drew my arc. I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to put my point right there on vertex A prime, and I'm going to draw the same arc now. Now, I want to measure the distance between these 2 points on the 2 rays. So I'm going to put my pointy end right here on the right-hand side, the bottom one. It needs to be a little bit smaller. So I've measured now the distance between this point and this point. And this point and this point right there are the same. So I'm going to put that pointy end right there. And then I'm going to make an arc across that arc to show where this point and the arc meet. Okay. So essentially what I just did was I just found this point right there. Okay, I'm going to get out my straight edge now and connect A prime to that new point I just created. Make sure you put your arrow at the end. And now I have copied my angle. So this is angle A, this is angle A prime. Even though they have the exact same measurement, they are physically 2 different angles. I know this is the original one, and this is now my new one. Okay, now we're going to do number 4. We're going to go ahead and copy the following angle using only a straight edge and a compass. So the first thing I want to do is I want to decide where my vertex is going to be. I could put my vertex here. I could have it going a different direction. I could put my vertex here, going in the same direction. Doesn't matter. All that matters is that they have the same measurement, the same degree of angle. Okay, I'm going to go ahead though and do it the same way. So I'm going to go ahead and put B prime down here. And we're going to draw our ray to match the other bottom ray over there. Okay, our next step is to make an arc. I'm going to put my pointy thing right there on vertex B. And I'm going to make an arc across there. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. Sometimes compasses aren't small enough to go that width right there, so I want to make it a little bit bigger so it can't go across. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and make that arc there. I'm going to transfer this point over here to B prime and make the exact same arc. Now I want to measure. I'm going to go ahead now and rotate my paper around. This makes it a little bit easier for me. And I'm going to measure the distance from here to here. Then I'm going to transfer, I'm going to double check one more time, okay. Transfer this point to right there and make an arc across that arc. Now we are going to connect B prime to that point right there. And we have successfully copied angle B now. Okay, let's look at angle C. We're going to go ahead and, I'm going to go ahead and do it this way, the way that it looks. Put my C prime right there. Go ahead and draw that ray. Make sure you have your arrow at the end to show that it's a ray. Okay, I'm going to put the pointy part of my compass right here on C, on the vertex C. And I want to make an arc going across both rays. I'm going to do that by rotating my paper. Makes it a little bit easier. Okay, we're going to go ahead and do that over here now. All right, now I'm going to measure the distance between these 2 points. Now I'm going to take this point, transfer it over to here, and make an arc. Now we're going to connect C prime to that point. And then we will have successfully copied angle C. Okay, we're going to do this again now, angle D. So I'm going to go ahead and pick my D prime. Draw my bottom ray there. Now I want to make an arc across both those rays. Go ahead and move my paper. Makes it a little bit easier for me. Go ahead and do this one. Okay, now I want to measure the distance between those 2 points. Okay, I have that. I'm going to transfer this point over to this point. And I'm going to go ahead now and make that arc. And there's our ray. So this is angle D and angle D prime. Okay, now we want to create a new line segment that is 2AB. That means twice AB, and we're going to name it segment GH. So this right here, this symbol right there means segment GH. Okay, so I want it to be twice this length now. So let's talk about how we would do that. So again, we're going to do the same thing we did before, where we measure the distance from A to B. Then we're going to go ahead and transfer that down. And we're going to make an arc. Then we're going to move this point over here. And somewhere on that line, we're going to make another arc. Okay, so now we're going to take our straight edge, and we're going to draw a line that goes through both of those arcs. That is our new endpoint. So this is going to be segment G and H. Okay, we're going to do this again, but this time it's going to be 3AB, which means I want it 3 times the measure of segment AB, so 3 times the length. So once again, we're going to go ahead and measure from A to B. Another way to do this is actually to go the other way. Go ahead and do it this other way. Another way to do it is to go ahead and draw the line first. Then find the measurement from A to B. Come here. And we go 1. We put our point right there on that new point. 2 and 3. This is our new endpoint, and this is WX. So segment WX right there. So either way would work. Okay, let's go ahead and do our last few problems. Okay, once again, we're given an angle. We want to construct a new angle that is equal to angle B plus angle B, named angle K. Well, that is the same thing as saying 2 times angle B, so twice the size. And we're going to call it angle K this time. All right, so let's talk about how we would do that. There's actually a couple of different ways we could do this. The first thing we need to do is just like before, where we need to identify where is our vertex K going to be. So I'm going to go ahead and put it right here. It's going to be K. And draw this base ray. And we do the exact same steps that we did before, where we draw an arc across, then we measure it, I'm going to go ahead and turn this around here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and mark an arc. Goes across both those things. And this one, I'm going to do the exact same thing, but I need it twice as big, so I'm really going to make that a large arc, much bigger. I'm always going to go bigger than what I think I need, okay? Because once you take it off, it's kind of hard to get that exactly back to where it was before. So I want to make sure that you go bigger than what you think you need. Okay, now I'm going to measure the distance between these 2 points. So about right there. I'm going to take my compass and put that right here. I'm going to make my first arc, then I'm going to move my point there, and then I'm going to make my second one. So I did it twice. Here is the first angle, and then I doubled it by doing it again. So now angle K has twice the measure of angle B. And now we're going to connect those. Okay, so now I just created an angle that's twice the size of this one. The other way I can do this, I'm going to show you one other way to do this. So we're going to go ahead and do it one more way. So this is angle K, or sorry, vertex K, which will soon be angle K. Go ahead and draw our ray right here. And I'm going to need to make this the same as before, so I got to get there. Okay, so I'm going to come here, and I'm going to go on both sides of that ray. Okay, then I'm going to measure here to here. And I'm going to take and put my point here and make one on that side. Then I'm going to rotate it around and make it on the other side. So now I'm going to connect this point and this point. So either method would work. So once again, this is angle K, and it's twice the measure of angle B. Okay, our last one, number 10. We are going to do 3 times angle C and call this one angle M. Okay, so we're going to go ahead. One other thing I want to point out here is the word new angle. Some students think that they just want to create a new one off here, just make this one bigger, and we're not doing that. We're going to physically create a whole new angle. Okay, so you're not going to just make this one twice or 3 times the size. We're going to physically start with a new one. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do C. So I'm going to go ahead and put M, vertex M right there. And I'm going to draw my ray. I'm going to go ahead now and measure, sorry, not measure, but create an arc that goes across those 2 rays. I want to make it big enough to work with. It's a little bit easier if they're bigger. Okay, and we're going to go ahead now, go all the way this way. I don't know how big I need it to be, so I'm going to go way bigger than I think I need it to be. Okay. Now, I'm going to measure the distance between these 2 points on the ray, on the original angle C, much smaller. Okay. And then we're going to transfer that over here. And we're going to do 1, 2, 3. And that is going to be the new point right there. And angle M is 3 times what angle C is. Once again, if you still need more help, go back and watch those videos that we have right here, Math Open Ref, and you can go into the geometry section under constructions and find those videos on how to copy a line segment and how to copy an angle.